Kirk Frost thought the cameras had seen it all. The cheating, the baby mamas, the courtroom chaos. But nothing could prepare him, or VH1, for what went down after Rasheeda's explosive slap heard around the world. Just when producers thought they had captured the most dramatic moment of the season, Rasheeda lost it in a way no one expected. The meltdown was raw, violent, and so unscripted that even the crew was shaken. And Kirk? He didn't yell. He didn't fight. He begged. In front of everyone. He reportedly got down on his knees, pleading with VH1 producers to kill the footage before it aired, claiming it would ruin everything. But it was too late. Clips were already leaking, and the internet was going wild. What really happened on that set? And why is Kirk so desperate to bury the truth? Trust me, this isn't just drama. It's destruction. What was supposed to be just another chaotic but scripted shoot for Love and Hip Hop. Atlanta turned into a total media storm the moment Rasheeda snapped. And this time, it wasn't for the cameras. It was real, it was raw, and it was something that made even the most seasoned producers freeze. Because what Rasheeda did in that moment wasn't part of the storyline. It was the result of years of betrayal, silence, and manipulation boiling over. And the meltdown that followed was so intense, Kirk Frost found himself doing the unthinkable, begging VH1 to bury the tape. Let's rewind. The cast was filming a follow-up reunion-style segment. The tension between Jasmine and Rasheeda had been simmering for weeks. Ever since Jasmine showed up at Rasheeda's divorce hearing, the same one where she dropped the bomb about Kirk's secret second family, the producers had been licking their lips, knowing the drama would break viewership records. But what they didn't expect was that a private audio recording would surface the morning of filming, and what was on it would blow everything to pieces. The leaked audio, allegedly captured during a heated off-camera conversation between Kirk and Jasmine, featured Kirk admitting that his affair with Jasmine never really ended, not even after Rasheeda took him back the first time. Not only that, but he also called Rasheeda too cold, too focused on the brand, and too difficult to love. The clip was short, less than 45 seconds, but that's all it took, and Rasheeda heard it right before she walked on set. Insiders say she had her ear pods in, pacing backstage. A producer whispered something to her. Moments later, someone from hair and makeup sprinted off the set. And then Rasheeda stormed in. No lines, no entrance cue, just fury. She looked Jasmine dead in the eye and screamed, "You still sleeping with him? After everything? After court?" Jasmine, who had been mic'd up and waiting to film her own scene, stood up to respond. But before she could even open her mouth, Rasheeda slapped her across the face so hard that Jasmine stumbled into the chair behind her. The entire crew froze. Castmates stood speechless. One person screamed off camera. Security tried to intervene, but it was already too late. Rasheeda wasn't done. She was shaking, yelling, and cursing, her voice cracking as years of emotional restraint cracked wide open. "I built everything. I stayed when everybody told me to leave, and you still went back to her?" Kirk, who was in a separate green room, heard the chaos and ran out. He didn't run to Rasheeda. He didn't run to Jasmine. He ran to the producers. And what he did next had everyone stunned. Witnesses say Kirk dropped to his knees, literally, and started begging, "Please don't air this. Don't put that out. You can't let people see this." A few producers tried to calm him down. One allegedly said, "It's already been recorded. We can't pretend it didn't happen." But Kirk wasn't listening. He was frantic, desperate, pleading with the showrunners to protect Rasheeda's image. But most people knew the truth. He wasn't trying to protect Rasheeda. He was trying to protect himself, because that audio clip, it exposed everything. And now the footage of Rasheeda's breakdown, the slap, the scream, the confrontation, was already in the hands of the post-production team. Editors, assistants, even a few interns had seen it. And before VH1 could even decide how to spin the chaos, clips were leaking online. Not the full footage, just enough to break the internet. Within hours, Twitter exploded. Did Rasheeda just slap Jasmine on camera? Kirk really said Rasheeda was hard to love. In what universe is he the victim? VH1 better not cut this. We want the real footage, all of it. Rasheeda's name trended in 12 cities. Jasmine's Instagram got flooded with threats, while Kirk's page became a war zone of comments ranging from support to total annihilation. But Rasheeda? She went silent again. No response, no post, no acknowledgement. But this time, people weren't dragging her. They were defending her. She snapped, and I don't blame her. One slap for every lie Kirk ever told. That wasn't acting. That was 20 years of betrayal breaking loose. Sources close to Rasheeda say she wasn't proud of what happened, but she wasn't sorry either. For the first time in her career, she let herself be messy, unpolished, angry, vulnerable, and it scared her, not because of the backlash, but because of how good it felt to stop pretending. Meanwhile, Kirk wasn't done trying to cover his tracks. Not only did he request the footage be cut from the final episode, but he allegedly threatened to walk away from the show altogether if they aired it. Producers were split. Some argued the footage was too explosive to waste. Others feared backlash from viewers if they glorified violence between castmates. But one thing was clear, Kirk had lost control, and it was all caught on camera. A man who had once orchestrated drama behind the scenes, always deflecting, always manipulating, was now exposed and desperate. No more gaslighting, no more redirection, just a raw, undeniable meltdown playing out on set. And this time, it wasn't Rasheeda's, it was his. The moment the footage of Rasheeda's emotional explosion began making rounds, even in clipped, blurry bootleg form, the narrative changed. No longer was Rasheeda being clowned for standing by her man too long. No longer was Kirk the charming but flawed husband trying to do right. The internet had seen enough, and now the whole world was watching a man unravel under the weight of his own lies, while his wife stood in the rubble of the life he'd pretended was real. But the real problem wasn't the slap. It wasn't even the screaming match. The real problem, and the reason Kirk was begging behind the scenes, was that the audio Jasmine leaked had changed everything. That 45-second voice note wasn't just damaging to Kirk's image. It had legal implications. Here's what was actually said, according to production leaks from someone on the editing floor. Rasheeda thinks she's so perfect, always talking brand, talking business. She ain't been warm in years. Jasmine, at least with you, I felt seen. You never judged me. It wasn't supposed to go this far, but I couldn't let it go. I didn't want to. This wasn't a man who made a mistake. This was a man rationalizing an entire double life and admitting on a hot mic that his infidelity wasn't just a lapse in judgment, but a choice he actively made for years. The audio was allegedly captured during a mic test when Kirk thought the cameras weren't rolling. Jasmine kept the file, perhaps as insurance, perhaps as revenge, but either way, she chose that day, the day of the shoot, to leak it to a gossip blog. And once Rasheeda heard it, the rest was history. Kirk's reputation was in flames. Producers at VH1 were panicking. What started as a spicy season finale was now spiraling into something they might not be able to legally air. Why? Because Rasheeda's team had started making calls. Her publicist reached out. Her attorney allegedly demanded a temporary injunction on the episode, citing mental distress and unauthorized use of personal recordings. Rasheeda wasn't trying to block the whole season. She just didn't want that moment broadcasted for public consumption. But the network had a different issue. They didn't care about the slap. They'd aired worse. What scared them was what Kirk said off camera. Because that statement about Rasheeda being too cold, about choosing Jasmine over his wife, could ruin everything they had edited together for years. It showed that much of what was filmed between Kirk and Rasheeda was manufactured. If viewers knew how deep the deception really went, they'd lose trust in the entire franchise. And worse, it would paint the network as complicit. Kirk had always played the misunderstood husband, a man who made mistakes but loved his family. And VH1 had leaned into that narrative. Reunion after reunion, season after season, they positioned Rasheeda as the long-suffering wife and Kirk as the man fighting to win her back. But this recording showed something much darker, something that looked like emotional abuse and manipulation. Behind the scenes, executives met for hours. Some said to air it all, the slap, the confession, the fallout. "Let the fans see the truth," one producer reportedly said. But others were afraid. If Rasheeda walked from the show, they'd lose one of the franchise's most iconic figures. And if Kirk tried to spin the audio as being edited or fake, it could set off a legal battle they weren't prepared for. Meanwhile, Jasmine, she was playing both sides. According to a source on set, Jasmine claimed she leaked the audio to protect herself and expose Kirk's hypocrisy. But insiders say she was actually furious that Kirk promised her one thing and delivered another. The source said she thought she was going to get the real version of him. But then she saw him kissing Rasheeda for the cameras and realized he's still faking everything. So Jasmine did what hurt him the most. She exposed his truth, not with a tweet, not with a caption, but with his own words. And in doing so, she lit a match that blew up both his marriage and his image. As for Rasheeda, she didn't just walk off set after the slap. She reportedly trashed her dressing room. Multiple crew members said they heard glass breaking. One claimed she threw a chair. Another said she screamed at a producer, yelling, "Y'all knew, and didn't say anything." Whether that's true or not, the emotion was real. Rasheeda had believed, even after the secret family, that things couldn't get worse, that the cameras had finally caught the worst of it. But this was deeper than a betrayal. This was a performance, a manipulation that stretched back years. And in that moment, she realized everyone had benefited from her pain. Kirk, the producers, even Jasmine. Everyone had a piece of the spotlight, except her. All she had left was shame, rage, and footage she couldn't unsee. And now, that footage was the bargaining chip Kirk was trying to bury. But VH1 wasn't budging, not because they wanted the drama, but because the public already knew. Clips had been screen recorded. The leaked audio had been uploaded to Reddit. There were reaction videos, think pieces, threads with over 1 million views. Burying the footage wasn't going to undo the damage. The only question left was how they'd spin it. Would they protect Rasheeda? Would they side with Kirk? Or would they finally let the truth speak for itself? Back inside the VH1 offices, the energy was tense. Editors, producers, legal teams, all scrambling to handle the unexpected chaos caused by Kirk's secret audio and Rasheeda's now viral breakdown. The slap had become global gossip. The leaked audio was dissected frame by frame. But what no one outside the network knew yet was that there was even more footage, and it was worse. An unedited camera angle, taken from a secondary boom mic setup, captured Kirk's full meltdown after Rasheeda stormed off. He wasn't composed. He wasn't the boss man viewers had seen for years. He was pacing, crying, sweating through his shirt, and screaming, Not at the producers, not at security, but at Jasmine. "You promised me this was off the record," he yelled, according to a source who viewed the raw tape. "You said you wouldn't use it." Jasmine's response, ice cold. "I said I wouldn't if you told her the truth yourself." That one sentence changed everything in the room, because while fans online thought Jasmine leaked the audio purely for revenge, this moment revealed a darker motive: leverage. Jasmine had allegedly warned Kirk months ago, either tell Rasheeda the truth or she would. He chose silence, and now she chose violence. But it wasn't just Kirk panicking anymore. VH1 producers had a decision to make, because between the leaked audio, Rasheeda's physical confrontation, and Kirk's very public breakdown, they had enough content for an entire spin-off special. One side of the executive team argued for a damage control approach: blur the slap, cut the backstage footage, frame the story around healing and forgiveness. But the other half, the side watching engagement numbers spike like never before, wanted all of it aired, raw, unfiltered, unapologetic. "People don't want fake storylines anymore," one showrunner argued. "They want truth, and we have it, in high definition." Meanwhile, Rasheeda was still radio silent. Rumors swirled that she'd gone to her mother's house and hadn't spoken to Kirk since the incident. One assistant claimed she sent back every piece of Frost-branded clothing from her boutique line and was consulting rebranding experts to completely strip his name from the business. And here's where things took a turn nobody expected. VH1 approached Rasheeda with a solo deal. According to two sources, the network offered her a 1-hour primetime special titled Rasheeda Unedited, a no-holds-barred sit-down where she could speak her truth, confront what happened, and tell her side without Kirk or Jasmine interrupting. They wanted to capitalize on the attention, but also soften the blow by giving Rasheeda control. She didn't say yes, but she didn't say no either. Because for the first time in her reality TV career, Rasheeda had the upper hand. No longer just the wife who stayed, she was now the woman everyone was rooting for. The one who finally cracked and had every right to. While she was weighing her options, Kirk was still spiraling. He started reaching out to media outlets with his own version of the story, trying to control the narrative. One of the blogs even posted screenshots of Kirk allegedly offering exclusive rights to unreleased footage of him breaking down in exchange for them spinning the story as a man betrayed by everyone he trusted. It backfired spectacularly. The comments were brutal. "Betrayed? Bro, you cheated, lied, and got exposed. Kirk is the gaslight king. Rasheeda deserves better." The fact he's still trying to control the story tells you everything you need to know. But the real blow came when Jasmine dropped another clip, this time a video from a year ago. In it, Kirk and Jasmine are seen in bed together, fully clothed but cozy. Kirk is shirtless. Jasmine is filming on selfie mode, whispering, "He said he was done filming for the season. Guess not." Kirk laughs in the background and says, "Don't post that. I'll lose everything." And now he has. VH1, seeing the tidal wave of exposure, decided to move forward with airing the full episode, uncut. The slap, the audio, the fight, the meltdown, all of it. Legal reviewed everything. Jasmine had signed a release. Kirk had been mic'd. Rasheeda's breakdown, though painful, was filmed in a public workspace where cameras were expected. There were no legal blocks. The announcement came in the form of a promo trailer that shook the internet. You thought you knew the story, but the cameras never stopped rolling. This is the moment everything changed. Clips of Rasheeda screaming, Kirk crying, Jasmine smirking. Then black screen. Ash, Love and Hip Hop, The Reckoning. The premiere date, just 2 weeks away. The reaction, nuclear. Fans began predicting who else might get exposed. Would Rasheeda speak out? Would Kirk finally disappear from TV for good? Would Jasmine face legal heat for the leak? But most importantly, what would Rasheeda do? Would she show up for the reunion taping? Would she forgive him again? Or had she finally found the power to walk away from the circus and close the chapter for good? VH1 may have tried to script the season, but the footage spoke for itself. And when the truth comes with receipts, no amount of begging can bury it. When VH1 confirmed that the full unedited footage would air, the culture braced for impact. This wasn't just a Love and Hip Hop season finale. It had become a national spectacle. The promo had been viewed over 18 million times in 24 hours. Entertainment blogs called it the most explosive moment in franchise history. And as the countdown to the airing ticked away, the central question remained: where is Rasheeda? She hadn't made a statement, no Instagram posts, no interviews, no cryptic tweets. Her silence was louder than any headline, and it drove fans into a frenzy. People speculated she might be taking legal action to block the footage. Others believed she was working on her own docuseries to expose Kirk once and for all. Some thought she had left Atlanta completely. But what no one predicted? Rasheeda showed up, not just for the episode, not just to watch. She showed up for the reunion taping, and she wasn't alone. She walked onto the set in a black fitted blazer, sleek ponytail, no jewelry, no entourage, just her, poised, silent, untouchable. The room fell into a hush. Even the producers looked stunned. Jasmine, already seated on the opposite couch, went stiff. Kirk, seated beside Mona Scott Young, looked like he saw a ghost. The cameras started rolling. This wasn't a regular reunion. No performances, no music, just the cold reality of a woman scorned and finally ready to speak. Rasheeda didn't waste time. I'm not here for closure. I'm not here to scream. I'm here because I need the world to hear this from my mouth, not a blog. She turned directly to Kirk. You've humiliated me on national television for years. You've lied, cheated, manipulated, and I covered for you. I protected your brand, your ego, your image. But while I was building a legacy, you were building a lie. Kirk tried to speak. She raised her hand. Don't interrupt me. You've had the mic for a decade. It's my turn. The crowd, even the other castmates, sat frozen. Mona leaned in as if holding her breath. You begged them to bury that footage because you weren't afraid of what it would do to me. You were afraid of what it would do to you. You knew the minute the world saw the real you, the manipulative, gaslighting man who smiles on camera and lies off it, that the game was over. Kirk's face was red, but Rasheeda wasn't done. And Jasmine? She turned to her. I don't blame you anymore. I used to. I thought you were the problem. But the truth is, you're just another woman who believed his lies, just like me, and I pity you. Gasps. Camera cuts to Jasmine's stunned silence. I want both of you to know something. I'm done protecting people who would set me on fire to stay warm. I'm done crying in dressing rooms and filming fake scenes to keep the peace. The Rasheeda you played with is gone, and I don't care who's watching. This is me, walking away. And with that, she stood up. The producers scrambled. Mona tried to speak, but Rasheeda was already walking. Off the stage, off the set, off the show. A full camera crew followed her as she walked through the soundstage lot. She stopped outside, pulled off her mic, looked directly at the camera and said, I let you film my pain for profit. Now you can watch me rebuild without him. Fade to black. The aftermath social media detonated. Rasheeda is the blueprint, period. That's how you leave with class. She ate and left no crumbs. Kirk begged to bury the footage. Rasheeda buried him. Fans declared it the greatest reality TV moment of the decade. Memes, reaction videos, think pieces. The episode became a cultural moment, and VH1, they struck gold, but also backlash. Viewers began questioning how long producers knew the truth, how complicit they were in hiding Kirk's behavior. Some even demanded Rasheeda be paid a bonus for carrying the entire season and most of the franchise. But Kirk, he disappeared. His Instagram went dark. No stories, no lives, just silence. Rumors swirled that he fled Atlanta temporarily to avoid the press. Sources close to production say he feels blindsided by how quickly public opinion turned, forgetting that this was the same man who engineered his wife's humiliation for TV drama for years. Jasmine, on the other hand, tried to spin her role. She appeared on a podcast the next week, claiming she leaked the audio because the truth needed to come out. But viewers weren't having it. Many called her out for weaponizing receipts only when she lost control of the narrative. Don't pretend it was justice when it was revenge. You were fine as long as Kirk lied to both of y'all. You're not a victim, you're just not the winner. And then came the announcement that shocked everyone. Rasheeda signed a solo deal with Netflix. The upcoming docuseries, tentatively titled Unscripted Rasheeda's Real Life, promises to expose the full truth about her marriage, her rise in the fashion industry, and how she reclaimed her voice after years of being silenced by producers, fans, and her own husband. The announcement broke the internet again. You watched her suffer, now watch her thrive. And Kirk, he won't be in it, neither will Jasmine. This time, Rasheeda controls the narrative, and everyone who profited off her pain is being left behind. After years of staying silent, Rasheeda finally let the world see her truth, unfiltered, unapologetic, and long overdue. Kirk begged to keep the footage hidden, but you can't bury what's already burning. The truth exploded. The internet took sides, and Rasheeda walked away from the franchise that once used her pain for ratings. This time, she's the one writing the story. So now we ask, was this the final chapter in the FROSTS saga, or is there still more dirt to be uncovered? Will Rasheeda's Netflix deal finally expose what Love and Hip Hop never dared to air? Drop your thoughts in the comments, sound off below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Because if you think this was the end, trust me, this drama's just getting started. And when the next bomb drops, you'll want to be the first to know.